All right, we got the Ravens and the Bengals. 3-0, 0-3.
Ended up being a decent game though.
Yeah, uh, it did, and it also confused me that Steve Smith Sr. can be that amazing, and you still haven't won a game yet.
Because as amazing as he was actually outplayed by AJ Green,
He was.
which is like I think Steve Smith, if he had the second best performance of the season by a wide receiver, then AJ Green had the best. Like
Right.
9 times out of 10, which is a stat I just made up. You play a game like that, you win. But the Ravens are just good at losing right now.
Yeah,
They're getting
honestly,
better though. They're due for a win. I think this week they play Pittsburgh, who is kind of on the ropes a little bit, and I think we kind of mentioned this already. They could potentially still win this week.
yeah. I mean, if they're gonna beat the Steelers, like this is the week you're gonna have to do it with Roethlisberger
Right.
being out.
Right.
I mean, shit. Even if you still want a chance for taking in the division or even a wild card in the division, like this is
Yeah.
you're gonna have to start winning games now with
Right.
Steelers, being kind of down on their luck, I guess you could say.
It's crazy how much things can change in one week in the NFL because last week I think both of us were ready to crown Pittsburgh the winner of the AFC North,
Yeah.
and now all of a sudden Cincinnati is kind of looking like that team. Just
Well, and that's a good question too. Uh, do you think Cincinnati is really good enough to be an undefeated? Because honestly, right now, well, there's only four undefeated teams: Packers, Patriots, Arizona, and the Bengals. And do you think
I think
Cincinnati is that good of a team to be undefeated with those three?
I don't think they're. If you're asking me if I think they're the fourth best team in the NFL, the answer is a strong no. No,
Okay.
but they are good.
Yeah.
Like I said in the Jets video, if I could take a pick back, I would switch Cincy and the Jets. I think Cincy's a playoff team again, and they've been a playoff team for what 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
But they still don't. They just don't look good enough, I guess, to do anything in the postseason. Like
Yeah.
can they win a game? And I don't know. You know,
That's kind of been the Bengals' whole demeanor, like you said, the past 3 years. They're a good enough team to make a playoffs, but they're not going to go to a Super Bowl. You know, I just don't see it
I
realistically
mean,
happening.
maybe if it panned out right and other teams got injured, and I mean anything can happen.
Yeah,
But they don't really. They look good. They just don't stand out, I guess. The least talked about undefeated team in the NFL for sure. You know,
yeah. I mean, they'll talk about certain things.
right?
AJ Green is probably talked about every week, deservingly so. And we talked about this. If you watch,
Even AJ Green has been a little bit under the radar up until this week, though. You know,
yeah, I guess he has been, huh? I
yeah.
think I think I'm still broadcasting from like last season carrying over.
Which is just all the time, but the
Yeah,
last 2 weeks he hasn't been brought up a whole lot.
yeah,
Despite the fact that the Bengals have won, he hasn't necessarily been posting huge numbers.
yeah. And I guess if we watched the Dallas and Falcons game, uh, we talked about with Julio Jones potentially being number one wide receiver, and you had the other two contenders right here playing against each
Right.
other, and AJ Green and Steve Smith Sr. both looking
Right.
phenomenal against each other. I mean, it was kind of awesome to watch in a way of like these clash of just the greats that are
Man,
playing this
it
year.
almost just felt like they were trying to one up each other. Like
Yeah, yeah, it
one of
truly
them would
did.
do something, and so the other one's like, "Well, I have to make something happen for my team." And at the end of the day, I don't know if it's so much that AJ Green, he did outplay Steve Smith a little bit statistically, but I don't know if it was so much that as it's just he's just on the better team. At the end of the day, the Bengals are just a better team than the Ravens.
Yeah.
You know, which is surprising because the Ravens I thought were a little bit better last year, and I mean they did get further in the playoffs, and there hasn't really been too many personnel changes. The Ravens just there hasn't been enough key changes for the Ravens to be winless, you know.
I guess like looking back in the previous weeks though, and even this week, despite not winning they're not being shut out either. You know, they're not being a complete
Right.
blowout. So I don't even want to say it's because like they can't close games either. There's just some. It's almost like they're just unlucky with their losses. Like when it comes down to in a way.
Maybe so. They kind of seem to be. It reminds me of the Saints, honestly. I don't want to like harp on it too much, but as far as they're losing close games, they're not just getting their ass kicked.
Yeah.
You know, it's like maybe they could have something they get together. I think that they have a little bit more. They've showed a little bit more than what the Saints have showed thus far, but they're definitely a team that is. They're not going to finish as low as they are right now. Put it that way. You know,
Mm-hmm.
when the season's all said and done, I think they're going to be closer to the middle than closer to the to 32. You know,
Yeah.
so. Uh, on the other hand, the flip side, the Bengals, they're going to be closer to 1. So, you know what's funny though? Despite this game and the way they've played, at the end of the season, there might not be a whole lot of difference between where they finish. You know,
Yeah. That could be.
it's
Uh,
just,
it's gonna be
just
interesting. It's interesting. I guess the best way I can say about for the Ravens is if they still come out in week 4 with a good mindset that like we know that we're this good of a team despite
right,
0 wins and everything. Like they
right.
could potentially still go off this season and go like on a big win streak and still steal the division away.
They have to
Maybe.
come all. They have to overcome the mental stigma of being winless,
Yeah.
and
Pretty
that's
much.
pretty difficult sometimes. You know, but they might could do it. The Steelers are definitely vulnerable, and the Bengals certainly don't look unbeatable.
Mm-hmm.
So it could happen. Crazier things have happened. So you know,
Have to find out then. Week 4.
we will.
We will.